afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday. We're here again. Thank you, everyone who is joining us today on Karista Live TV. We're quite excited. Our aim is to always make a positive, lasting difference, create value, add value by having guests who could potentially help you build wealth through real estate. So now, today's guest is Joseph T. Giorgis. He's in a very, very unique position. He is both a realtor and a property manager. And Joseph and I have been working together for at least 15 years, we said. I think after 15 years, we stopped counting because we're going to age ourselves. So Joseph has helped me purchase and sell a few properties, and he's managing all our rental properties. And we've also referred a lot of our clients to Joseph to manage properties here in the Lower Mainland in British Columbia. So welcome, Joseph, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Perfect. So Joseph, again, since you're both realtor and a property manager, could you just talk to us what's happening in the market right now? What are you seeing? How's real estate?
Well, it's no secret that everybody knows the market has been on fire for a couple of months now, to say the least. And people are buying investment properties, and first-time home buyers are buying, for the same purpose. And we are seeing an uptick in prices, and properties get listed today, and a couple of days later, they're sold. So this is what we are seeing right now. And I guess, there are a lot of reasons you can hear from people, but I think that, to me, the most important reason is that interest rates are very low. So the best place to put your money is in real estate.
Absolutely, absolutely. So a lot of people are buying, first-time home buyers, even our investors. There's a lot of investors that are purchasing right now. And it's great to purchase in rental properties right now because it positively cash flows. So to all of you who's watching right now, you don't know what positive cash flow means. It means the rent minus all the expenses is positive. So there's money left over after the rent payment. The rent payment covers all your expenses pretty much. So that's why it's called positive cash flow instead of negative cash flow, where you have rent, but it doesn't cover all the costs. So right now with the low interest rate, practically all of our clients, when they buy a rental property, it's such a positive cash flow. So that contributes to that, I guess. So thank you, Joseph. We have some questions here. So to everybody who's watching right now, we have some questions that a lot of potential rental property owners or new rental property owners are wondering. So this is straight from our clients. So the first question is, how long have you been a property manager, and how many properties are you managing? And then after that, what is the biggest difference in how you manage a property now compared to a year ago post-COVID?
So I have been in the real estate business for over a decade and a half. And prior to that, also, I was managing my own rental properties. Going to your second question, the difference between managing properties pre-COVID and now is now we have to strictly follow the provincial health guidelines, which means our interaction with our tenants, prospective tenants, showing homes, accessing the rental unit for repair, maintenance, and inspection, all are guided by the health authority guidelines. We cannot, send people who have not completed the COVID form to,
Wow.
to inspect or to do any repair work. And of course, on the other hand, also the people who will come to service any appliances or do electrical work, they want to know the condition of the tenants. Is there anyone who is showing symptoms, or anyone sick, anyone who is quarantining in the home, or traveled and came back in the last 14 days. So we have to answer all these questions before they send their technicians out to the units. So I mean, it's a big responsibility, and we have to document and keep all that information just in case something happens and we get asked for contact tracing. So it
Okay.
is different. Yeah.
Okay. And then what questions should a rental property owner what questions should they be asking before hiring a property manager?
It is very important, first of all, to get a list of things that the management company is providing. And also, they should ask, is there any additional payment for each service provided? For example, when they do a home inspection, periodic home inspection, is it included in the management fee, or is there an additional charge? As I know, a lot of property management companies, for each home inspection, they charged about $75 for every visit. So you have to know that. And also, when they are doing some kind of renovation, and if they have to monitor the renovation process, they may be charging you additional amount as well. So know also about those charges. Otherwise, you'll be surprised when you get a bill saying this is how much will be charging you for attending for this kind of repair or service.
Okay, so basically, before you hire a property manager, everyone get a list of the regular, the what's covered, and then what's additional items or additional services that they will be like charging you in between. So that should be spelled out. So, but can a property manager charge you something that wasn't specified on the general agreement?
Well, they shouldn't. I mean,
Okay.
the management service agreement should be the guiding document for both the property owners and the management company. And if they don't do that, basically they are violating their contractual agreement. But you know, if it is written in the agreement, you have to read between the lines and see what those charges are indicated there. Um, you
Okay.
know, yeah, read the fine line.
Read the fine line. Okay, so we have another guest that's coming to join us. But before we welcome our next guest, we would like to play a video for you guys to watch our next upcoming event. Stay tuned.
Iniimbitahan namin kayo sa ating free Tagalog Real Estate Investor Webinar para makasave kayo ng pera at matuto kayo kung paano kayo makabili ang inyong rental property dito sa Canada.
Kung nagsisimula ka pa lang mag-isip tungkol sa pagbili ng iyong first rental property, sinisigurado naming malalaman mo ang tunay na halaga ng pag-invest sa real estate at matutuklasan mo na hindi mo kailangan ng maraming pera para magsimula. Kung ikaw naman ay may rental property na, makakakuha ka ng mga tips tungkol sa pagbuo ng isang kumikitang real estate portfolio.
Ang ating presenter ay si Bernadette Laxamana, 2017 and 2021 Mortgage Broker of the Year. Sasanamahan din po tayo ng ating mga panelists na sina Joseph T. Giorgis, Property Manager, Melissa Briones, Pinay Lawyer, at si Bert Barungaw, isang Pinoy accountant.
Marami kaming mga naging attendees na isa lang ang property for the past 5 years. And then, within 2 to 4 months, naging dalawa na ngang properties. and are now on their way to buy their third. Maniwala ka, ang down payment nila ang nanggaling lang sa unang bahay na binili nila.
Mahigit na 1,000 na po ang na-educate namin from our webinars. At dahil they are educated, they feel empowered. Proud na proud po kami sa mga kapwa nating Pinoy na may mga rental properties na. Parang si Michael at Tek, umattend ng webinar at ayun, sa loob ng 2 buwan, nakabili na ng kanilang first rental property. And then within 1 year, nadagdagan pa ng 4 na properties.
Si Vanessa at Joselito, merong isang bahay. Umattend ng aming webinar at ngayon, meron ng 3 properties. Did you know that only 4% of Canadians own 2 properties and only 1% own 4 or more? We have a dream. More Pinoys ay makasama sa 4% at lalong-lalo na po sa 1%.
Napakasaya po ng mga Pinoy investors namin dahil sa maunlad at successful na buhay na naibibigay nila sa kanilang mga anak at kapamilya. I promise you, pag umattend kayo, marami kayong matututunan at lalakas ang loob niyong bumili ng inyong rental properties.
Click on the link po to register at i-share ninyo sa lahat ng kakilala niyong homeowners para umunlad din sila. Magkita-kita po tayo sa ating webinar. Yeah, and so thank you everyone, and we're sharing the link. This is the link to register for our next upcoming webinar. And welcome Joey. Hi Joey. I think you're muted. I can't hear you. Hi Joey. I can't hear you.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
And so good afternoon everyone, and Joseph and the rest of the Karista team, and syempre sa mga nanonood ngayon.
Okay, so Joey is here. He is our favorite property inspector. We've been working, I don't know, Joey, how long have we been working together now?
I don't want to count, makes us too old. More than 8 years, yes.
Yes, so there you go. Yes, so Joey has helped hundreds of our clients with their properties, even our teammates work with Joey. So we have some questions. So everybody who's watching right now, if you have any question related to property management, real estate, fortunately, Joseph is both a realtor and a property manager. And any questions regarding property, like home inspection, please type in your questions, because I'm pretty sure the rest of the audience are too shy to ask their questions, so you can ask for them. You can ask the question in Tagalog if you're more comfortable with that, and you can also ask it in English if you're comfortable with that. So Joey, we have a question for you. Do you inspect a property differently if it's a rental property purchase versus an owner-occupied purchase? Is there a difference?
No, nothing really. Our inspection is pretty much comprehensive. So it both covers yung dalawang aspect, the 2 aspects. It doesn't matter if it's a rental. It doesn't matter if it's a principal occupied property. We basically do a full inspection of the property, because we still need to inform the owners if there are any safety issues, if there's any impending big deficiencies that needs to be repaired right away. That both affects, even if it's a rental or a principal property. So it basically covers the whole structure and contents functionality of the home. It doesn't matter if it's just rental or principal owned
property. Okay, thank you for that. Joseph, another question for you. How do you find tenants? What are your strategies for screening tenants? So how do you find tenants, and what are your strategies for screening tenants? Might as well answer the other question that I have in my head just right now. How hard is it to find tenants as well? So
it is not hard to find tenants, but it is hard to find the right tenants, suitable tenants that are responsible, tenants that will look after your property. So the screening process will be hard, but there are lots of good tenants out there. So how we find tenants is, one, we advertise on about 26 websites. Some of them are paid sites, some of them are free sites. Um, One of the major sites that we use for our business is rentboard.ca. Rentboard.ca is a paid site, and this site will post on 26 different sites
Wow.
the same advertisement that we have posted. So the reach is very wide, and we do have the tools also that the website provides us to manage, communicate all these referrals that come through, Facebook Marketplace, Zamper, um, Kijiji, you name it, all those 26 sites that people have accessed and requested about these properties. So that is one. And the other one is we do have, because we manage over 200 properties, we do have people that will call us for different properties, and we keep them in our waiting list. Let's say we have 5 6 qualified tenants for one townhouse, but we can only accept one, and we will promise the other ones to put them in our waiting list. And then once another property becomes available, um, we will still advertise the property, but we will contact these people if they are still available and looking to rent, and then we can do the placement easily as well. For example, recently, one of the properties that we manage is sold. So the tenants have to move out. These are excellent tenants who stayed there for 2 years, but unfortunately, the property is sold to someone who is moving in. But then we have another rental property that we manage, mother and son who live there. The son is getting married, he is moving out, and she has to downsize. So now we are moving this family to the other family's unit. So we don't even need to advertise that. So, I mean, we have all these connections, and, you know, because I'm a realtor as well, a lot of realtors will contact me and say, look, my client has sold her house, and they're going to build and they want to rent for a couple of years. If you have a townhouse or a house or a condominium, please, then we will get these people there before even advertising. So there are a lot of ways of getting tenants for us.
Beautiful. And how do you screen for them? I understand you do different checks. There's a
Yes. So we do credit check, reference check, which includes their employment reference, the previous landlord reference, and we also ask them on our application for them to provide us personal references. And we do open source search as well to see what type of people these people are. And, so there are a lot of ways of researching about these people, and so that's how we do our screening.
yeah, we do also you do also social media in case they belong to a rough, rowdy crowd. So um, thanks, Joseph. We have a question from Cliff. Thanks, Cliff, for your question. Kanino po yung inspector? It's for you, Joey. Kanino po yung inspector? From the seller or from the buyer? Good question, Cliff.
Hi, Cliff. Thank you for that question. So, we do a little bit of the selling part, meaning if the seller wanted to list their property in the market and they want to find out the issues or deficiencies they have in the house before they sell it, so they have time to fix it, adjust the pricing on their house based on the deficiencies, we do what we call a pre-inspection of the property. But most of our basically about 80% of the inspection we do is we are hired by the potential buyer of the property.
Okay, so there you go. So great question. Thank you, Cliff. And then another question for you, Joey, is some clients who are already homeowners feel that they know a lot about houses, right? They're like they own homes, so they know what to look out for when buying a home. So why should they still have the new home they're buying as a rental property, have it inspected. Is it necessary?
Well, I would compare that like buying a house with no realtor. Like you basically hire a realtor or a home inspector for that matter to have somebody professional who has the knowledge and experience to be on your side. So we've had a few properties where they declined the home inspection, like you said, because they are carpenters, they are plumbers, or they are contractors that they know um, how to look at houses. But what we bring to the table is the experience, years of experience. We have the equipment to detect issues or deficiencies before it happens, or issues behind the walls that we cannot identify with just our naked eyes. And of course, we went to a school for home inspection specifically to be able to help clients identify deficiencies in the home. And not all homeowners have the time to spend 2 to 3 hours crawling under crawl spaces or going up to the attic and testing plugs and appliances and basically 100,000 of items that constantly happens in the house. And it's more of how you value your investment and how you value your time. Would you rather spend 500 or 300 and hire a home inspector and do it for you, and you know they're very knowledgeable and experienced to do the report and present it to you, or would you rather risk that $500, and if you're buying a half a million property, $1 million property, really at the end of the day, it's just a drop in the bucket for what you're spending in order to have a professional to be on your side.
Well, I agree with you, Joey, because I think if you're a homeowner, you're only looking on stuff you know, but there's a lot you don't know that you don't know. So how do you inspect for that? Which I think that's why you hire an inspector. So thank you. We have a question here from Alvin Aquino. Thank you, Alvin. This is for you, Joseph. How many years back to reference for a potential renter?
Checking references.
Yes.
Well, I mean, if you wanted to know someone very well, it doesn't take much time to, or a longer history about them. Um, some people may have failed with their credit and with their employment in the past, but if they had a good track record in the last couple of years, then we are good to go. The credit information usually will give you up to 7 years of information. So that will tell us about the financial ability of the applicant. And if they are gainfully employed for the last couple of years, and we can see the stability in them, then that would be sufficient for us.
What about the reference check? You mentioned that sometimes you ask for reference check from someone else. So how long? Yeah.
So, for example, if it is a personal reference they gave us, and that person gave them that reference, or they have known that uh, company manager where they worked for, it doesn't matter how long ago it was. We will talk to those people and find out what kind of information they can give us. If they are still in contact and if they are capable of providing information that we need about this person. If they are capable of doing that, we will talk to them. We will not, say, well, this information is a long time ago. We're not going to follow it, but we will follow whatever lead we have to know about this applicant.
Yes, it sounds like whatever information you have, you use it, and then you fill the puzzle. So just to make sure that it creates this cohesive background for the potential renter. So I hope that answers that question, Alvin. That's a great question. Harold has a question. Hi, Harold. Thank you for joining us. Very great question from you. Good afternoon. What if I can buy a house from an owner without a realtor? Pwede ba akong gumamit ng mortgage broker? So, mapakaganda pong tanong. And yes, pwede po. All the more reason why you should be using a mortgage broker kasi marami po kaming alam. Pwede namin kayong i-guide. Pwede namin kayong i-guide tungkol sa inyong due diligence. Kasi kung meron kayong realtor, your realtor will be guiding you to a lot of the due diligence part. Eh ngayon wala po kayo, so tutulungan po namin kayo. We will hold your hand, yun yung next step, ano yung next step, ano yung dapat, like kailan nyo dapat i-hire si Joey, kailan nyo dapat kausapin yung lawyer, kailan nyo dapat kausapin yung insurance, and kailangan nyo para to make sure that yung property po na binibili nyo ay tama sa inyo. Kasi making an offer is just the first step. The most important step po yung due diligence. That's the lahat ng inspection, lahat ng analysis, lahat ng investigation na gagawin nyo para siguraduhin yung okay po yung property. Yun po yung key factor. So yes, you can work with us. And here we're sending you a I think you know this one, discovery call link for our relationship managers para lang mag-guide po namin kayo. So feel free to book a time with the team. Marami po kaming naka-standby to work with you. So hope that answers that, Harold. Thank you. And then Alvin has a question. Sir Paler. Wow, ang ganda ng pangalan ni Joey. Sir Paler, how long does it take? How long does it take? Does a rental require inspection? How long does it take to do an inspection, maybe?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Basically, I think he's asking about how long does a rental property,
Okay, yes.
How long does it take to do inspection? So, like I mentioned earlier, it doesn't matter if it's rental or owner-occupied. Again, depends on the size of the property. It can be a condo unit. It can be a single detached house. So condo starts for about an hour, and then for a single detached, of course, depends on the size of the property. It can take 3 to 5 hours, and longer, depending, of course, on how old the building is. If there's a lot of issues and things like that. But yeah, it doesn't matter if it's rental or a non-rental, it would be the same coverage and time frame.
So that's a very good question. Joey, kapag ini-inspect mo yung property, do they have to be there the whole time? Like, what's the time commitment that an owner or a potential owner should invest kapag inspection time?
Normally, I start earlier. If let's say we have a 1 p.m. inspection, it's a big house, takes me 3 hours. I basically do it on my own without the buyer first. And then we always encourage the potential buyer to be at the end to discuss the deficiencies, good or bad, and show them around the property and discuss with them how the maintenance and how to operate items in their house. But really, we just meet them at the end, about half an hour to an hour. But the bulk of it, the inspection bulk of it is we cover that part. So that we're there longer, and then we just see you there at the end.
There you go. So yeah, although it sounds like it's a long time, it's your choice to be there most of the time during the properties that we've bought in the past. I don't show up in the beginning, I just show up in the end. But some of you would probably be curious, so it's your choice really. So thank you for that, Sir Paler. So Alvin has a question. This is actually one of our questions for later, but we're going to ask it now. And so on question, Alvin is, hi, Joseph, what are your standard pricing for tenant placement? So I think we can ask this question because I think you have two types of service. I don't know if you still do that, Joseph, where it's just tenant placement and actual property management. Could you share your standard pricing then, please?
Sure. So we do both tenant placement and full service management as well. The tenant placement is half-month rent, which includes all the screening process, and then writing an enforceable rental agreement between the landlord and the tenants, and doing the first walkthrough inspection and documenting all uh, the deficiencies that we find during the walkthrough. And we will hand over all the documents to both parties, and our work is done at that point. Or we can do all the screening and then manage the property, on a daily basis as needed, and also collect rent and deposit the rent amount less the management fee into the landlord's account every month, and do the regular inspections. And there are a list of things that we do as well along the way. That would be the full service management. So for the going rate in the lower mainland for property management is anywhere between 10% and 12%. And the placement fee is standard across the board, from what I see, is half month rent. But what we will offer is for people who will be uh, Karista mortgage clients and who will be getting their mortgages through Karista mortgages, we will waive the half month placement fee, and also we will reduce the management fee to 6% only. So that is the special offer we will give to people who will get their mortgages through Karista.
Thank you. So there you go, guys. So if you want to take advantage of that rent, that reduced rent, thank you, Joseph, for your generosity. If you want to take advantage of that, have a discovery call with the team, and we will let you know if you qualify, how much you qualify for to purchase a rental property. So yeah, that's so generous. Thank you, Joseph. I hope that answers that question for you, Alvin. Thank you. Harold, you're very welcome. Gladys says, nice to see you here, Joseph. So, Michael Makatiag has a question. Hi, Michael. What are the key things to check when it comes to inspecting a previous rental property? Joey.
All right. Joseph can probably answer this too after. But basically, when there's if it's a rental property, or most tenants, they don't really look after the house as good as a homeowner will do. So when inspecting previous rental properties, the common items we find are maintenance items, or plumbing issues, or not properly ventilating the property. And of course, when there's no proper ventilation, organic or mold starts to grow in some areas. um, and the rest is just basically cosmetic items. But the bigger items would be definitely maintenance, because tenants always refer to the landlord with regards to properly maintaining items in the property, and if they don't communicate that to the landlord, then nothing gets done. And not until sometime it's too late, or the deficiency has been aggravated, then it's a bigger item to repair. So hope I answered that correct.
There you go. So thank you. Yeah, that's a great answer. So those, it's really, if it was a previous rental, yeah, there may be additional things that you may want to have checked. Joseph, is there anything that you can add to that?
Actually, Joey nailed it. It is true. Some tenants are not bothered to ask the landlord. Maybe they even are intimidated asking the landlord to do some regular maintenance and repair. So they will say, as long as it works, the faucet is leaking, and it leaks when I open it, when I turn it off, it's okay. But that could cause further damage to the cabinets and other areas of the property. So proactive landlords should go and check at least once every 3 months, 4 months, to see if things are operating properly. Some don't even clean the dryer lint. which could be a fire hazard. So all those inspections are necessary to be done periodically. If not done periodically, and if the tenant is not proactive in maintaining the unit, most of the time they don't have the time. They could be busy, and it may cost some money as well, and they don't want to spend that. And also, let's be honest, some landlords are also very busy and they don't have the time to go and do these things on their own. So that complicates things. And, at the end, the expense could be higher, and uh, it could be costly for the landlords.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. And Alvin Aquino said, "Thank you, Joey and Joseph." I guess he says nice, so it must be pertaining to the discount. So, thank you for that. Next question for you, Joseph. If a client only owns a basement suite, so some people don't actually have, another property, but they are renting the basement suite, would you still recommend for them to hire a property manager?
I will, because, in fact, if you want a very peaceful life in your home, you need to inspect and uh, see what kind of people you're inviting to your home. Basically, they are living under your house, and if you don't know who they are and what kind of character they have, it will be disruptive. It's better to have them further away in another property than having them literally live in your home. So, to have a professional check these people before they share a roof with you, I would say is very important.
And can you also put in the guidelines as well that every time they have an issue, like they should not talk to, they should.
Yes, I mean, they could. I have seen some tenants, the moment you start showing generosity or
Yeah.
being nice, then the next thing you know, it is they will be very demanding and high maintenance. And because they know you are the owner, there is no middleman, and then you are, embarrassed or ashamed to say no. Some people cannot say no. They will say yes to everything, and they will take advantage of that person. But if they are dealing with us, we don't even have to say no to them. We will say, we will talk to the owner and see if it is allowed.
Mm-hmm.
And then they know they cannot bypass us and then go to the owner. And then we can come back and give them a reason and say, we'll talk to the owners for sure, first of all, and we will tell them, is this something acceptable to you? And we will advise them also whether to accept or not accept this request. And we will tell them what the consequences are accepting or not accepting. Based on that, we will go back to the tenants and tell them, because of these reasons, the landlords are not approving it, and we are not also recommending it. And end of story.
Well, that's a huge value. Think of yourself as as a president of a company. You have a gatekeeper. There's
Yeah.
a so you don't have to say no. You don't have to say yes. The property manager can take care of that for sure. I highly recommend having one. As I mentioned, Joseph manages all our properties, and it's such a relief that I don't have to deal with that. If you have your own property manager, the benefit for you guys is the money just goes in your account. You don't even know you own multiple properties because it just comes in. And then there's no headache. I remember before I had a property manager, just handling all the headache makes me not want to own properties. It's just because of that. So thank you for that, Joseph. Another question, Joey, you mentioned this a little bit. Could you share how much should they budget for home inspection?
All right, basically, yeah, we starts at about 300 for like trailer homes, and then small condominiums, and then it goes up by size. Townhouses starts around 400, and then single detached homes starts at 500. Again, depending on age and size of the property, how many kitchens, and things like that. So if you're buying a condo or townhouse, you're looking at about $300 to $400 plus GST, of course. And then for single detached, 500 and up.
Okay, so there you go. That's how much it costs. And just to shout out to Michael Makatiag, he says, thank you very much, po. So you're very welcome. Another question for Joey. If there's already a recent inspection done on a property, because sometimes that happens, if there's already a recent inspection done on a property that a buyer wants to purchase, should the client still insist on doing their own, or should they just use that existing inspection?
Sometimes that's what we do with our pre-inspection. But again, you still have to do your due diligence and have a professional on your side, because you want the home inspector to represent you rather than an inspection representing the seller. Okay, I'm not saying the inspector is not being honest when he pre-inspected the property, but it's better to have your own inspection done on the property, because the time frame difference between the inspection or the previous inspection and the inspection of now or current, things might have changed already. So I definitely suggest still hiring, especially if you're buying an expensive or a property more than $1 million. Again, the fee is very minimal compared to the investment money you're putting in.
Yeah, I always tell people, like, inspection is not a cost, it's an investment. I think if you approach it as an investment, then you probably won't be too leery about it. It's worth it. Alvin has a question. Thank you, Alvin, again. Hi, Sir Joey. On every how many years do I need a property inspected?
I guess, Alvin, you're referring to if you live in the house. So on the initial inspection, when you purchase the property, let's say you hired me as your inspector, I'll basically present you a report on how to maintain your property for the years to come, and basically educating you on how to maintain and what to look out for and before it becomes a deficiency. So really, it depends on how you take care of your property. If like Joseph was saying, you don't really live in the house, or you just have the house rented, you really want to take care of the property. So, but at the point that you want to sell it in the future, you want the house to be in good shape. Then you might want to have it done at least every 5 years, because during that time, a lot of things has changed. There might be plumbing issues. There might be a attic or venting issues in the attic that might be starting to, become a safety or health hazard to your occupants. So again, it depends on how hands-on you are to your property. And I will definitely, or the inspector will definitely educate you on that part when you first purchase your house.
There you go. So I hope that answers that, Alvin. What a great question. It's just a reminder for everyone who's watching to make sure you do the maintenance that you need to do. Again, it's an investment, not a cost. And then another question for Joey. We get this all the time. Would you recommend a home inspection for a brand new property or properties that are still covered under warranty? Why or why not?
I find that the home warranty is sorts of give the home buyers a false idea of when they're purchasing a house. Meaning they think a lot of buyers are thinking, I'm buying a home that is new already. If something goes wrong, it's covered by warranty. But the thing is, with buying a property, you want the listing agent or the seller of the new property, you want to put pressure on them to fix those deficiencies we find before you move to the property. Because in most cases, once you sign the dotted line, and purchase the property and you move in and you find deficiencies in the home, then it takes longer for the builder to attend to those issues. So, us coming in prior to you purchasing a brand new property, we find those deficiencies, and no house is perfect, even if it's new. Especially with the current market right now, we're encountering a lot of builders that have substandard quality, substandard materials that they use,
Because
and
they're rushing.
they're basically nowadays properties are being built to make money, and not compared before years ago where houses are built with pride. We've encountered a lot of new houses right now where I would basically let my client know the deficiencies, list them 100 issues in the house without directly telling them don't buy the property, because um, we are not there to tell them don't buy the property. We're basically out there to inspect the property and report to them the deficiencies. And we've been seeing a trend of new builders not having a lot of experience,
Wow.
fly-by-night builders who probably have one or two developments under their hat, and we're seeing a lot of deficiencies lately in new properties. So,
Wow.
and again, at the end of the day, like I said earlier, or like what Bernadette mentioned earlier, it's not a cost, but you want to bring in somebody for the investment you're trying to get into.
Yes, there's a lot. Again, there's a lot you don't know that you don't know. Get somebody who knows. Okay. Another question from Cliff. Can a buyer have an inspector that they know personally, a family, friend, or close family?
In home inspection is not a requirement right now. So the BCREA or the Real Estate Commission doesn't require you to have a home inspection. It's for you to waive that. So also it's for you to hire anybody you like, your uncle or your uh, a friend carpenter to do the inspection for you. That's totally fine. But remember, that's your investment, and you get what you pay for. And basically, what I'm saying is that don't skip on a professional home inspection.
And also, isn't it true that you have an E&O that covers you? And so I don't know if your friend Cliff, they inspect and they didn't see something. I don't know if there's a recourse there or something. I'm not so sure. Isn't it true, Joey, that you pass, like there's licensing, there's E&O that you guys comply with in order to do what you do?
Yes, exactly. We home inspectors are licensed, fully bonded, and fully insured. So if there are items that we cannot access or not visible, and E&O basically covers us for those big item deficiencies that we miss. E&O meaning errors and omissions. So any issues, the same thing with realtors, they do have their E&O insurances or coverage for things that might get missed during an inspection or a professional document or something like that.
Okay.
But definitely, like Bernadette said, yeah, insurance is very important with any professional. You want to make sure that the person or the people you hire to assist you has full coverage.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Joey. Thank you, Cliff. Alvin Aquino said, maraming salamat. Walang anuman po, Alvin. And keep the questions coming. And thank you for your honesty and integrity and your humble confidence in asking the question. I'm pretty sure other people want to know as well. We have a question from Lei Concepcion. A question for Joseph. With this pandemic, great question. How quickly do you get tenants for rental properties? Are there still a lot of people looking for rental properties, or does it depend on location? Thanks in advance. I think that's what TIA mean.
Okay. So here in BC, we are very lucky when it comes to the vacancy rate. The vacancy rate across the board in BC, the major cities, even some smaller towns, is less than 1%. And what we are seeing is a lot of people are moving, especially from Alberta. We have seen some people moving from Ontario as well, but in big numbers from Alberta are moving to BC.
Wow.
And our applications that we see shows this interprovincial migration quite a bit. So I would say COVID didn't affect the rental market at all. So there is a huge demand for rental properties.
For sure. And I think that's a very good question, Lee or Lay, because when you look at as an owner, so this is what I see with a lot of our investors, they're owners, right? And they find out that if they bought this property, say a $600,000 home, Joseph, how much do you think, with a townhouse, I guess, how much do you think is a rent on that in Surrey? 2.5, maybe?
Around 205, $2,500 would
So
be,
that's like a 2.5 or 3 bedroom townhome, yeah, or
yeah.
two, yes. So okay, so you're the owner, yeah, and you bought this property, and you hear that the rent is 2.5. Your first thought is, who would pay this rent? Because your mortgage payment is probably really low. So you're kind of shocked, but unfortunately, not everybody has that same blessing that they can afford. Just like Joseph said, if you're a first-time home buyer, people who don't have 20% down, the down payment is kind of difficult for a lot of people, and also the monthly payment. So even though for you think it's quite high, to them it's more manageable and economical than owning their home. So yes, so that Joseph said, it's very true. We have a lot of investors that if you join us for our real estate investing webinar, we're sending you the link again. We will show you a bunch of our rental property owners and how much rent they're getting and how much positive cash flow they're having. So please make sure you register for that. That's a great question. So a lot of people who just joining us didn't hear what you said, Joseph. So I'm going to close with this question. As a property manager, how much does it cost to hire you? And aside from finding a tenant, what else do you do?
Okay, so in terms of the cost of managing properties in the Lower Mainland, the going rate is between 10 and 12% of the gross rent collected. For Karista mortgage clients, clients who will get their mortgages through Karista Mortgages, we will waive the placement fee of half month rent, and also we will reduce the management fee to 6%. So that's almost half of the going rate in our area. The other question was, I believe, how do we find tenants? Was that?
Aside, well, what else do you do aside from finding right tenant? Before I answer that, thanks again for your generosity, Joseph. So aside from finding tenants, what do property managers do? So people think, a lot of our investors think that's all you do. Like,
Oh,
no,
okay.
that's a
Well,
little bit.
it
That's like
is
2%.
a lot of things that we do. Hopefully, you may contact Karista and get a list of the things that we do. It's a really long list, but just to summarize it, we will screen the tenants. We will show the property to prospective tenants. We will even tell you how much your property will rent so that you don't overprice it or underprice it. We do inspections, regular inspections of your property. If there is any maintenance or repair needed, we have contacts, different companies and handymen that will go and look after all those issues. And we do credit check, reference check, and move in, move out inspections. The list goes on. So it's a huge list that we do.
There
And
you go. Yeah,
even
go
I
ahead.
can give you an example. Sometimes for startup properties, the owners may be busy and they may not be able to attend an annual general meeting. and they will ask us, and they will send us a proxy. We will go and sit in that meeting and vote on their behalf if they have any concerns, bring their concerns to the table. So, I mean, we can do a lot of things to help the property owners.
Yes, so the only time you see that me for the property sweep, the only time I saw it is during the end of the inspection, and then after that, never saw the property again. So Joseph was kind enough to take care of that. So thank you so much, Joseph. Thank you, Joey. We have shared here the contact information for Joseph. We've shared here the contact information for Joey as well. So if you have any property management or real estate investment questions, reach out to Joseph. If you have any inspection questions, please reach out to Joey. We refer a lot of clients to these two gentlemen, not because they pay us anything. No, they don't. It's just because we stand by their integrity, their professionalism, and their such high level of care for our clients. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today. And for anyone here who's watching, you want to know how much you'd qualify for if you're interested in buying your first home, your second, your third, and fourth. Only, just get this, guys, only 4% of Canadians own 2 properties, and only 1% of Canadians own 4. So just think about that for a minute. 96% of the population don't have 2 properties, and we really want to continue to educate more and more, lalo na mga Pilipino, na magkaroon ng pangalawa, pangatlo, pang-apat na property, because we believe that real estate is the best tool to achieve financial independence. Thank you again, Joey. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, everyone who's watching today, and we'll see you next week, same time, same channel on Karista Live TV. Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye.